So based on this, so if in Hindi there's an expression where they say kabab mein haddi, what does it mean? It doesn't mean that you're the bone in the kebab, but it only means that you're a disturbance or you're being a disturbance or something like that. Okay, so it's the similar thing. So in English, there are a lot of idioms like that, where you use metaphorical language or you use metaphorical terms to convey something. For example, if you say, I have a bone to pick with you, that means what? I have an argument or I have something that I dislike. So be aware of your idioms and use them. Okay, so that's important. Then use your collocations. So for your vocabulary, the most important thing is your collocations and your idioms. Okay, these two are very important for your speaking. I'll come to that more in detail. Then if you look at band 7 for your grammar range and accuracy, even though it talks about strength and structures and all that, guys, for this, what I would like to tell you is use all your three tenses. Okay, use sentences in the past, in the present, and in the future. So that will help you to convey or to display different variations of sentences. Okay, this is how you get your grammar range accuracy. So while you use all the three tenses, even without your knowledge, you're using both an active voice and passive voice, and you will be constructing complex sentence structures. And if you look, like I told you, use discourse markers. So even when you use your discourse markers, you will achieve constructing simple and complex sentences. Are you guys able to understand me?
Yeah.
All of you, Sarabjit, are you able to understand me?
Yes, ma'am.
Devika, you okay? Ramanpreet, are you able to understand me? Okay,
Yes,
so
ma'am.
that's how. Please let me know if you don't understand something. I'm okay to answer it because I'm going on and on. Don't hesitate to interrupt and ask if something, if you don't understand something. We're all here to learn, so don't worry about asking doubts. So even it says that you use a complex structure with some frequently produces error-free sentences. So for you to use complex and simple sentences, if you just use your discourse markers, if you just use linking words, you'll end up producing this. Okay, so don't worry about your simple, complex, compound sentence structures if you just use these. Okay, the only thing that you have to worry about, see that you speak in all the three tenses. You speak in the past, in the present, and using the future tenses. Okay. Then if you look at the last one as your pronunciation, so the last factor that you're marked for is your pronunciation here. Don't worry about your accent. So let's look at band 6. What do they need for us to do band 6? They want us to use a range of pronunciation features. That means enunciate. Okay, so if we are from the Asian part of the world, as I say, all of us are from either India or Nepal parts of the world, what we tend to do is we speak with our mouths closed. Okay, enunciating is or opening up your mouth wider is very important. Second thing is using the right tone. When you're asking a question, you're using the questioning tone. When you're acting surprised, you're using the surprised tone. Okay, enunciate, open up your mouth wider, your pronunciation is fixed. Okay, don't worry too much about your accent. Okay, this is not a big factor. It's not a big limited. It won't limit your score to a big extent, as long as you open up your mouth wider and you enunciate properly. Okay, so while you're using words, always listen to how they're pronounced. So if you think of certain words to use in your speaking, you think, okay, these are the words I will say. That I use. So always remember or learn how they're pronounced and pronounce it rightly. For example, the word academic, right? We in India or in Nepal, we call it academic college, but the correct pronunciation is academic. So we try and say how the word is pronounced. For example, I've seen another one which is called for honesty. Students say honesty, honest. So we see what is the right pronunciation and we try and stick to that. Then another pronunciation error is honorable. So the H, silent H's, that's one common pronunciation error. honorable, honesty, and then hormones. Then with H, what's the other one? Yeah, there's another one where people say opportunity. All these guys. So be aware of just your pronunciation, but that's okay. That's very slight. So don't worry too much about this factor. As long as you open up your mouth, you're clear, and you enunciate well. Okay, use the right tone, the right intonation. Another thing is, right now speaking is conducted. You probably asked to use a mask, right? So that's okay. It won't affect your speaking to a big extent. Just see that you're very clear. Imagine you're speaking to your grandparents in English or something when you're using the mask. And in some places in Australia, there's also video calling where you have to video call and speak. Okay. Any doubts so far? So for your band 7, this is what is important. Now, if you look at someone at the band 9, so we see that it's the same thing, but it's very limited errors, okay? So the band 7 to band 9 is the same thing, but very limited errors. So it's not forced. The idioms are not forced. The collocations are not forced. So when we are in band 7, we are forcing ourselves to use them. But if you look at the band 9 speaker, the speaker doesn't force it. It comes naturally, okay? That's the only difference. If you look at band 7, band 9, it's all not forced, okay? Let's move on to the so that's what you do even for your writing. The first thing that you do is look at your descriptor. What do they want from me? What should I be doing for a band 7? So look at it and just give it to them. Okay, now in section part 1, like I told you, you will be asked about basic questions. You'll be asked 2 or 3 points about what you want to speak. So always listen as to what tense the speaker is going to speak to you about. He might ask you questions in the present tense or in the past tense. Be careful with what tense he's asking. Answer in that. Okay, so focus on each word that you're telling to avoid fumbling. Divide your answers using transitional words. So for example, if the speaker is going to ask you a question like, so give me a minute, I'm just looking for some questions. So if he's going to ask you a question like, let's talk about advertisements. Are there many advertisements in your country? So you say definitely or certainly. So you begin like that. You don't use the same vocabulary as that. So you say definitely they are or there are. They appear all over the place. So you don't know another synonym for advertisements. So what could be another synonym for advertisements? What do you think could be another synonym for advertisements? So it could be propaganda or marketing or something connected to that, or product marketing, product propaganda, something like that. So see that you use it, but if you're not, just use your pronouns. This is only for part 1, okay? So don't repeat the same word as in the question. You say, he asks, are there advertisements in your country? You say, certainly there are numerous advertisements, or there are numerous. They appear everywhere. We often find them in flyers, newspapers, TVs, and all that. Okay, so that's it. Or you could say there's multitudes. So you use there's numerous. They're all over the place. So use those kind of phrases to show that you can use that. Okay, divide your sentences using transitional words. You said certainly, then you said they're found everywhere, all over the place, and all that. So this is just a warm-up round. He's only going to fix your band here. Don't worry too much about it. Just three common topics he'll be asking you. He's asking you about 6 to 8 questions depending upon the number of questions. Okay, it's even though I've written 10 to 11, it's going to be 6 to 8. Don't worry too much about it. Then okay, like I told you, here you'll be focusing on your fluency. So see that you do not pause for long, you don't take long breaks. Be short and simple. So every question, 2 sentences. Okay, don't give one word answer. That's a big thing. 2 sentences is more than enough. Okay, complete your sentence. So always, so he asks, where is your home country? You don't just say India. Instead, you say, I come from India, or I come from the southern part of India. I come from this part of India, which is called this, or something like that. Then finish strong. Don't keep going on and on and on. Be confident. Sit up straight. Get comfortable. Section 2, you will be given a cue card, and you'll be asked to describe the thing in the cue card. So he passes you, or she passes you, the cue card, and your time starts exactly as he starts. So try and answer this question. So while you're doing your section 2, there's one thing that I want to tell you. Always it's going to be 3 bullet points. Okay, so he'll ask you a question. Maybe he could ask you a question like, describe a dream that you had. You should say, and bullet point 1 would be, what do you see in the dream? Bullet point 2 would be, was it a scary dream? Blah, blah, blah. Bullet point 3 would be, express a dream in detail, or it could be, how did you feel when you woke up? So he would ask you a dream that you remember. What did you say? How did you feel? So he'll have 3 bullet points. So what I suggest is, give me a minute. You write your thoughts for all the 3 bullet points in thought clouds, okay? And you write it in clockwise direction. So when you're doing your part 2, if you can note it down, please do it. This is quite important. I've seen many students. So you write your thoughts like this in thought clouds, okay? You write your thought then in clockwise direction, okay? So your thought is transitioning from one thought to another. So you're not just writing it randomly. When you're making your notes, see that, okay, what did I see in my dream? Am I right? A unicorn, rainbow, blah, blah, blah. Then what else was, or when did that dream take place, or what do you remember? Was it a pleasant dream? So you say, was quite a pleasant dream. I was very happy in my dream. I was enjoying. I was carefree. Or it was a scary nightmare. I woke up in sweats and all that. How did you feel when you see the dream? Then you say, I woke up in sweat, or you said it was beautiful. I woke up so peaceful. I wish I could see such dreams. And then you end up telling dreams are very important. So you start off with a general statement. So he's asking you, what's the most memorable dream that you saw? Then you would say, I remember saying a dream, or I remember, if it's a bad dream, a scary dream, you use words like nightmares or scary, terrifying, and words like that. So, so you'd say, I'd like to talk about a dream that I had when I was in this place, okay? Then here, you also use your 3 tenses, okay? So you're saying, I saw this, so you're using a past tense, and then you say, when I came to, I remember. So use a variation of your past tense, then your present, and something in the future. Okay, so always try and make your notes in the clockwise direction so that you transition. So I've seen students who take notes randomly everywhere, all over the place. Okay, I'm disorganized a lot, but for this, always organize your thoughts so you won't fumble. You know where to go from one thought to the other. So far, are we all good? Any doubts? Are you guys there or asleep? Sleeping, anybody? Guys? Oh my God, so quiet. Okay, I'll call out names. Jigar, did you understand what I'm trying to say? Do you have any doubts?
How do we like make sentences regarding the past, present, and future?
So you would say, I remember a dream that I had a few days ago or a few months ago, or I had a dream right in my childhood and I still remember it. It's so vivid to me even now. And then you say, I dreamt that I saw, maybe I'll tell you, I dreamt I saw that I was tied up somewhere, and then and all that, and then you say, when I woke up I was in sweats, and I still remember how I felt, or I still have that vivid feeling when I think of it. So you've demonstrated something in the past, and you say, I still remember or I still experience this. And then in the future, you would say, I hope I do not see such dreams again, or I hope. So I'm not telling you you do it, but you display that you can speak something in the past, something in the present, and a sentence or two, if possible, in the future. So you're demonstrating a use of all the three tenses. Is it making sense to you now? Jigar, better?
Yeah, better.
Sarabjit, are you able to understand me?
Yes, ma'am. I can understand.
Raman, are you clear with this? I think she won't be able to talk. Are you?
Yes.
Okay. Devika, you're okay with this?
Yes,
Devika?
ma'am.
Okay. Guys, if you have any doubts, please interrupt, ask questions. Okay. For this is where your discourse markers or your cohesive devices, how to connect your words. So you say, I woke up in sweats and I vividly remember. So I'll pull out a list of discourse markers that you can use for your speaking, or I'll attach it on the chat so that you can download it. So speak at a low pace, at a slow pace. You do not need to run. And always remember that it's not about what you're speaking, but it's more about how you're speaking. Okay. So even if you're not to the point, even if you're not like bullet point 1, 2, 3, even if you're not to the question, remember it's important, or what is important is how you speak rather than what you speak. So we spoke about this. Okay. So this is how you do. We spoke about fluency and coherence, lexical resource. I'll pull up a list of idioms and phrases that you should be using, and grammar as well. Okay, pronunciation, just go slow, because if you're especially Devika, you're from Nepal, right? You are naturally fast speaker, so slow down a bit. Okay, if from India, you're a you're naturally slow speaker, so don't worry about that. And then, okay, so make notes, paraphrase the topic as much as possible. So if he's asking, describe a dream that you saw. So you would say, I would like to talk about what I dreamt when. So you would say, the dream that I saw was, instead of that, you would say, I would like to talk about, I would like to express, instead of describe, you would say, I would like to talk about, I would like to express, or the dream that I saw when I was younger, or and things like that. So you don't say, if the topic is like this, describe a beautiful place to visit in your country, you don't say, I'm going to describe a beautiful place. At least for dreams, you can't use a synonym. Like, what can you use? If it's a scary dream, you would say nightmare. Or if it's a very pleasant dream, what can you say? It was a very pleasant dream, or something like that. But there's no, I don't think you can use a better synonym for dream unless you refer to it in a very scientific term or something. But if it's like this, you would say a destination, a beautiful destination, or a terrific destination, an interesting country, or an interesting tourist place, or something like that. Okay. Then if you don't understand something, always ask for clarification. So you can always ask for clarification. For example, you would say, by this, do you mean this? Or by destination, do you mean a tourist destination? So you're asking clarification, or you'd say, if I understand correctly, does it mean this? So asking clarification, you could use words like this. Okay. Now, a very contradicting or a very controversial topic is, what happens if you do not know the topic? Suppose it's asking you, describe one time when you went to see mm, a rugby match. So it's going to say, describe one thing when you went to see a rugby match. You should say what the players were doing, or how the game was played, and things like that. And imagine you're like me, you have no clue anything about rugby other than the word rugby. You don't know clue, or you have no idea about it. So what do you do in such circumstances? And the bullet points is not telling you to describe your feeling, it's not telling you how you felt and all that. It's asking you to describe what the players were doing, asking you to describe how the game was taking place. So you're like, oh my gosh, this is so unfamiliar. So in such cases, what you can do is, if the topic is way out familiar, or way out, far out, what you do is you say, uh, my line of interest. So you could say this: unfortunately, my line of interest does not lie here, but I'm very much interested in something similar. So you would say, I'm very much, or you could say, unfortunately, my line of interest is not in sports, but I'm quite interested in indoor games, or I'm quite interested in other hobbies such as painting or something similar. Okay, so the examiner is not actually looking at your rugby knowledge, right? He's only looking at the way you speak. So he'll give you another topic. So that's one way to combat if you do not know how to, or you do not know a thing about the topic. Any doubts so far?
No, ma'am.
All good, everybody?
Yes, all good.
Okay, so I've seen many students who come out telling that, oh my God, the topic was so unfamiliar. So here you should express yourself, and if you need clarification, always feel free to ask. Okay, then, oh my gosh, here is a very, 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 very important thing. Okay, so what I've seen is, if he's asking to describe your culture, he's going to ask you to describe about your country, your home country, your culture, your language, and things like that. Always when you're describing, I've seen this with especially our kind of students who come from India, Nepal, the Asian part of the world. What we tend to do is, we all and since we are so proud of our culture, what we say is, we compare it with Western culture. So we say, unlike the Western culture, so never ever, okay, compare our never ever compare culture. So when you're telling it's different to the rest of the world, so never stereotype, never compare. Beware of it. Okay, so never compare, never say, when compared to the Western culture, so this is not found in the Western culture, or this doesn't happen everywhere else. So when you're telling, when you're comparing, better don't compare, but when you're doing it, always tell this is different when compared to the rest of the world. Never stereotype, never say Western culture, that culture, this culture. Okay, so when he's asking to talk or he's talking to you about what is one thing that happens in your country, and you don't compare it with, you don't say it's very different or it's better than the Western culture. Never ever maintain that. Maintain a neutral expression. Always never be biased, because it's not a good way. You never know who's checking your test. Okay, think so far that's it. Give me a minute while I pull out. You take a break, I'll take a breather as well while I pull out the idioms and discourse markers that you can use for your speaking. And meanwhile, if you've got any doubts so far, feel free to ask me.
Is it possible if we tell them we do not know some or other sort of topic,
Yeah.
will we be able to change our question?
Yes, so you won't tell him directly, I don't know, but you would say phrases like this: unfortunately, that's not my area of interest, or unfortunately, my area of interest lies somewhere else, and something that you're interested in, something similar.
Oh, so you'll give me the question that I'm interested in.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, thank you.
So not just me over here, but even the examiner is bound to give you. So his job is to make you speak. So he'll see that you do it.
Okay, okay.
Are you guys able to see my screen? So these are some of the discourse markers that you could use for your speaking. So these are conjunctions, or they are simple connectors. You use your and, but, and or that you already know now. So while you're giving a reason, you say another reason. The first reason why this happens is, and another reason is. So you can use this while speaking. Then you use also and. Okay. And for time phrases, you could say, if he asks you, are you employed or where are you working? And you say, at the moment, or presently, currently, or at the moment, I'm just looking for some work or something like that. Then you would say right now, at present. All these are phrases that you want to describe your time these days. So you would say these days. He would ask you something about how do you think using a lot of screen time, or a lot of screen time is affecting students or children. You would say nowadays, or these days, in the current times, in the present times, before, after, in the past, years ago, at that time, or when I was a kid. Then all these are time phrases in the past, and currently these days are time phrases in the present. And if you're talking about time phrases for the future, you would say in future. Then causes and solution, if this is the one, you would say because this one, and then I guess it's because of this. I suppose the best way to deal with this, the main reason is. So you can begin your sentence like this. You could use all these linking words to, or the best way to solve this problem would be the government should do this, or something like that. When you're expressing your ideas, you would say, I think one of the most important thing is the main difference between this and this is, I guess one difference is you speak in a natural tone. When you're giving an example, you would say, for instance, or to elaborate upon this, like, for example, such as being clear, or you have spoken something, now you feel that you want to clarify it. You would say, what I wish to say is, or what I wanted to convey is, or as I was saying, what I mean is, what I mean by this is when you want to correct yourself. Okay, you would use words like this. And when you're comparing, or when you're using contrasting ideas, you use but, while, on the other hand, on the one hand, although, and all that. When you're stating your opinion, if it's asking for that, you would say, in my opinion. Please don't use this, even though I've written it. Please don't use as far as I'm concerned. Use in my opinion. I believe that from my point of view, all this. And to express agreement, you would say, I agree, I quite agree, I'm in an agreement, I quite agree. I quite agree is quite a good one, okay? Then for signposting, I know you use these in your writing, but you can also use this in your speaking. To begin with, I would like to say, however, in the same way, unfortunately, you could use all of these signposting that gives a direction to where you're going, okay? Fortunately, unfortunately, please use those kind of discourse markers. Okay, so you're using, that's about 25% of your points for you to use your linking words, okay? So be careful when you use it. Don't force it. It should come naturally when you're speaking, okay? Always decide on the tenses. So I'll share this on chat. You can download it and use it. I'll just attach it to the chat. Um, Okay, I've sent it off to you. You guys can take a look at that. I hope that'll benefit you. So look at all those discourse markers, and kind of like that, not sure, too sure, and all that. So I've put in the speaking strategies very, very briefly as well. So you can use that. Okay. So when you start, or when you go, the examiner is going to introduce himself or herself, and they're going to ask you for your identification. Be careful, carry your passport with you, and then you will be asked to tell your full name, or your and you tell your full name and how you would like to be called. So for example, I go there, my name is Ruth. So he might ask me, hi Ruth, I'm your examiner for today. What's your full name? And then you would say, or hello, what's your full name? And I will say, my name is Ruth Cherian, but I would like to be called as Ruth, or I would like to be called Cherian if you want to be addressed by your surname. So you if you tell your whole name and you say, I would like to be called like this, okay? So that way you're not just stopping abruptly, or you could say, my name is this and this, but you can please call me this, okay? So are you ready? Can we start off? Oh, someone's been waiting in the waiting area, I think. Give me a minute. There has been someone who's waiting. Okay. All right. So without wasting time, let's start. So, guys, I know you've been waiting for a long, but will you tell me if you want to go start first? Who wants to go first? Is it okay if I call names? Is that okay if I choose people? Oh, I can hear crickets. Why are you so quiet?
Yeah, that will be all right.
All right, then. So I'll just start calling out people based on the name I see on the screen. So I can see Jigar first. And Jigar, did you expect that I would call you first?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so I can see your name first on the screen, and I'll call you out. Guys, even if you're uncomfortable or you're not prepared, okay, just let me know. No, I don't want to do it today. I just want to listen, okay? But don't leave the lesson, okay? Just for the sake of this, if you want to go for another reason, please do so. But for the sake of not answering, don't run away like that. So you don't want to do it, let me know. Hey, I don't want to do this. Okay, so Jigar, so what happens is if you first come in and then you'll be asked to show your identification, you would say, I have my passport with me, and you give it. And then the examiner is going to ask you what your full name is. You would say, my name is Jigar Patel, but please call me Jigar, or I would like to be called Jigar for the rest of my interview. And he's going to talk to you a little bit about part one and going to start asking questions. Okay. Sweetheart, can you please unmute yourself? Or are you unmuted already?
Already.
Okay. I'll just take out my Word document to ask you questions. Part two. So let me minimize this and this. Okay. Okay, no, you're not needed here. Okay, so I'll display the cue card only when we enter into part two, but otherwise we'll just be talking to you face to face like this, okay? All right, so let me open up my questions for part one. Okay. So you'll be expanding on your answers for about 1 or 2 sentences, okay? You don't have to overdo it, but 1 or 2 sentences will be fine. Okay, darling. Okay. So I'll just time you as well for just to see if you're talking to the time, okay?
Yeah.
All right, I'll start my time and then we'll pretend this is an exam.
Perfect.
Good afternoon, my name is Ruth and I'm going to be your examiner for today. May I please see your identification?
Yes, I have my passport, and you can have a look.
Thank you. And your name is Jigar, and what's your full name?
My name is Jigar Kumar Maheshbhai Patel, and yeah.
Okay. Good Hello, Jigar. So we will be entering into part 1 of your speaking. In part 1 of your speaking, I will ask you a few short questions about yourself, and please answer it as best as you can. Okay.
Definitely.
Okay. Okay. So, Jigar, let's start talking about food. What kinds of food do you particularly like?
I particularly like a sweet food. I have a habit of eating sweets after my dinner, and I love it. Indian sweets.
Okay. So, is there any food that you don't like?
Mm. I particularly love all dishes. It's not particularly like I don't like something, and I believe like love to eat everything.
Okay. All right. So, what kinds of food are more popular in your country?
Particularly, our country has different parts. So different parts have its own popular foods. So if you will go to Gujarat, the fafda jalebi is the most popular food, and if you went to some other region, there is some different parts foods available.
Okay. So, Jigar, do you like cooking? If yes, why? And if no, why not?
I loved cooking, but uh, before before I was working in pancakes. So at that time, I was making different dishes, and I love to make it different ways. But after leaving my pancake job, I really don't like to cook.
Okay. So, Jigar, that's the end of your section 1 of speaking. Can we go on to section 2 of your speaking? Jigar, you know what? I'll give you your feedback for section 1, okay? And then we'll proceed to section 2. So you spoke for almost 2 minutes and 30 seconds, slightly lesser, but it's okay. And when you started off, you were a bit nervous, okay? And then you eased out slowly. So you have to use a bit more of discourse markers when you're speaking. So you could use words like interestingly, or I'm so happy that you asked this question because I'm a foodie, or I love food if you do. Or you could say interesting that you ask me this question because I'm a person who don't mind or who doesn't care much about food or something like that. Okay, so use your discourse markers. Then when I asked you what is the type of food that you like, you said I love sweets. So you could use expressions like do you want me to type it out? Do you want me to type it out, sweetheart, so that you'll understand it better? So okay, wait, let me type out. Can you see my screen?
No, not yet.
Okay. Okay, so you said words like, so you make a list of words. Okay, so food, you said sweets. You could use sweets. You could use desserts. Okay, and then you would say, I have a sweet tooth. I know you see, all of you know these expressions. Okay, it's not new to you. All of you know this expression, but it's the problem is we should use it while we are attempting the test. Okay, so you could use words like desserts. I have a sweet tooth. I am. So instead of I love, you can, because we always use I love to do this because that's the way we speak. But you could say I am fond. So you could use these expressions. I'm fond of sweets. Oh my gosh, I'm losing my mind. So you could say I'm fond of sweet dishes or sweet dishes. Okay. And your second question was, is there any food you don't like? And you were like, you should say, I am a foodie. So there is rarely or any food I dislike.
Okay.
So you can use like, dislike, and things like that. So he asked, or I asked, don't like, you could say dislike. So for food, you use the word dishes because you didn't want to repeat the vocabulary, which is very good. So there is any dishes, or any preparations. You could use all this, okay? I dislike. So I know you use dishes when you were doing this. Then I asked you what kinds of food are most popular in your country. So in this case, I know you know this word and you would have probably thought of it. So you could use cuisines. So you could use India has a lot of districts or states or a lot of cuisines. So for instance, so you use your example. So well done on that. So you gave an example, which is pretty good. So you would say, for example, in Gujarat, the state where I come from. So you're including another information. So you could say, are you a Guju?
Yes.
Okay, so you'd say, for example, in Gujarat, my home state or the state that I come from, there a dish or a dessert called jalebi and a snack dish called fafda is very popular and delicious. So you could use words like delicious, then lip smacking. Use all your KFC and McDonald's. I know you're vegetarian probably, so lip smacking, finger licking. You could use all these finger licking good. So you could use all these expressions. So you're displaying your idioms, okay? And then you used your past tense when I asked you, do you like cooking? Why you're not? You said, I liked cooking. But when you're telling that, it's not too obvious. So you can say, you used like. So for like, what's the word? I used to enjoy cooking. So don't use the same vocabulary. You say, I used to enjoy cooking while I was employed in pancakes or while I was employed with somebody. And since I quit, I have lost interest, or since I quit, I'm not too interested, and things like that. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you use such expressions. Are you ready for your part 2?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay. So for your part 2, let me show you the cue card. Okay, let me time you first, okay? I'm timing you for a minute. So we're back to the role play. So I'm your examiner now and you're the candidate. So Jigar will now be proceeding to part 2 of our test, where I will issue a cue card. You have a minute to prepare your thoughts, after which you will be asked to speak about it for 2 minutes.
Okay.
Give me a minute, please.
Sure.
Okay. I'm sorry. Oh gosh. Okay, Jigar, this is your cue card and your minute starts now. That's the end of your minute. Your minute is up. You may start speaking. Okay, you may start speaking now.
Okay. My perfect holiday destination is Paris, city of love. I would like to go there, and it's a really romantic city, as I have heard about it, and I really wanted to go over there. It's my dream city. I wanted to go there, and I really love there, and I have a big fond of like, sorry, I'm nervous.
Okay.
I have a big fond of try different cities and like when to go out somewhere, and I'm really sorry.
That's okay. You know, sweetheart, when you're stuck, it happens to the best of us. It happens to everybody. So when you're stuck, you can always tell the examiner. So I will start over again, okay? So you can always tell the examiner, a moment for me to, please give me a moment while I collect my thoughts, okay? Don't overdo it, but when you're stuck, you really want to put your thoughts in order. And, you know, you're under extra pressure as well because there are so many of us watching you. So what you do is you always tell, please give me a moment while I collect my thoughts, or let me collect my ideas, or please give me a moment while I collect my thoughts. That's allowed, okay? Use it once throughout your test, just one time. That's another technique for you to just not stop abruptly, and you can take a moment, organize your thoughts, and then start speaking again, okay? Do you want a minute?
Mm-hmm. Yes, please.
Okay.
I'm ready.
Okay. Your time's up, and let me time you again.
Yeah.
Okay, you can start speaking now.
Yeah, my favorite destination to go somewhere is Paris. I really love to go there, as from my childhood I was thinking about to go to Paris, and now I have really time to go there and have a look over there. And I have seen in movies like the culture over there, the lights, and that attracts me a lot. So it's all what I need to pull me out to go there. And I really I'm a type of girl like I really love to roaming around from one place to another place, and having fun with different people. And I'm a little bit like sometimes I really love to spend time with other. I can talk to other persons, and that's what how I feel about it.
Okay. So I know you were stuck a bit for this, but I want to know why. Was this topic unfamiliar or?
No. After a long time, I'm like giving us some speaking session,
Okay.
and I'll just I was just planning for IELTS, as I want to go to Canada, and like, so that's why. And I lastly studied like 5 or 6 years ago, so so that is like I was difficult.
Yeah, I get it. You know, it's very common to lose it, but it doesn't matter because I know it's your first day, it's your first class ever, and it's been so, yeah, so I understand that. So when you're doing this, I'm sorry, it's not this. Have you taken down your notes?
Yeah, but not precisely.
So while you're taking your notes, see that you take it in thought clouds. For example, if you're speaking about this, if this is my thought cloud, I would say my first thought would be describe your idea of a particular holiday destination. So you don't use the word destination. Holiday destination would be place to visit, place to spend time as a tourist or something like that. Where would it be? So you would start like this. Interestingly, I have been asked to talk about the place I would love to visit or a place I would like to visit for my holiday. The place, so you go slow. The place I would like to visit, or you go again. Or I think Paris would be the perfect tourist destination for me because it is called the city of love. So you in your thought cloud, you've written Paris. You've written place of love or city of love, and you've written heard so much about it or read so much about it. That's your note. Then you put your arrow and you transit your thought to the next bullet points. What type of place it would be? So you would say, in my imagination. So you don't know what it looks like. So you would say, in my imagination, or you would say, I have always imagined Paris to be a city full of lights, with streets full of people, or I've always dreamt of visiting Paris in spring or in autumn. So you would say the season.
Yeah.
Where the season is autumn, and it's autumn and the leaves are all dropping off the trees, just like you would see in a greeting card, or just like you would see on a greeting card. It's something like that. And then the next one is how what type of place would be, how it would look like. So you would talk in your future tense now. If given a chance, I would pack my bags now and go, and I'm looking forward to, or I hope to fulfill this in my future. So you use all your three tenses. So you put your cards like this stuff. So I don't know if you can see my screen.
No.
I mean, can you see me?
Not clear. Yeah, I can see you, but it's not
But you
clear.
can't see what I've written. Okay, something like this. Okay. I know it's not clear because I've mirrored it.
Yeah, place to visit, Paris.
So you would use sorry. Give me a minute. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? I can't see. Maybe network problem, Raman. Give me a minute. Video settings. So I have mirrored it to look nice. So if I unmirror it, you will see how I look like actually. So now you can see it. Can you see?
No.
Can you see my writing better now? No?
No.
So I would say Paris, place of love. Then I've heard so much about it. And the next thought goes, in my imagination, I've dreamt it to be. So your thoughts are transiting from one bullet point to the other bullet point, and you're speaking in your present tense, then something in your past tense, and a little bit in your future tense. Okay, so that's how your thoughts will transit. Okay. All right, guys. So we'll start with section 3. Okay, so I'll time you off. So this time there is no screen, no cue card, but I will just time you out. Okay.
Yeah.
Part 3. Okay. So I'm just timing you off for 2 minutes. So you won't know when you have transitioned, but that's your monologue. Your monologue is ending now. Okay. Raman, I'm sorry, not Raman. Jigar, what do you think of the disadvantages of working overtime?
So, disadvantage of working overtime will lead you. Sometimes it's good, like when if it is sometimes, it will definitely help you. But if it is every day, so it will you will lose your energy. You can even lose your concentration if you work more than 8 hours. That will lead you to lose your concentration. Even you can't take your full sleep, and that will make you feel like a little bit nervous, kind of anxiety and different disorders. So that is not good for your health even, because the health professional says you need to even take 6 hours of minimum sleep you required, and that will leads to different disorders. That's
Good. So do people in your country like to have holidays?
yes. Yeah, of course.
Okay.
So do I need to prescribe it?
Yes. Just elaborate a little bit. So you could say, people in my country loved visiting places and
Okay, so people in my country love to explore different cities and different areas, and we are foodies, so we love to try different like popular food of different areas, and yeah, it is a lot of fun having like to go somewhere.
good. Well done. So that's the end of your speaking session, Raman. I mean, sorry, Chigar. I'm sorry about that. So, well done on that. Okay, I know it's your first time, and it was very unexpected. You didn't even know there's going to be a speaking test or nothing. So
Yeah.
you've done pretty well, and you were the first candidate as well. So just no reference to do it. So what I suggest is, whenever you're free, always look at Band 9 speaking tests. So you'll have plenty on YouTube. Go look for a band 9 speaking test,
Okay.
and listen to it so that you'll know, okay, what are they asking, how is this conducted, what are the discourse markers she's using, and go nice and flat. Okay, keep it natural like you already did. Don't go as artificial as they do, as natural as you can, but just for your discourse markers and what kind of expressions to use. Okay, so well done on that. So who has gone? Someone has gone off. So, okay. So the next person is Devika. Are you ready to do it, or are you guys okay to do it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Devika. So I'll start off with your part one. So we'll pretend this is our real test, and I'll time you
Okay.
for 2 minutes. Okay. Good afternoon, and my name is Ruth. I'm going to be your speaking examiner for today. How are you?
Good afternoon. I'm good. How are you?
Can I see your? May I see your identification, please?
Yes, sure. I have my passport.
Okay, and what's your full name?
My name is Devika Roka. You can call me Devika.
Okay, so Devika, how did you arrive here today?
I live 2 kilometers far from here, so I had to take a bus while I came here.
Okay, uh, Devika, let's start talking about chocolate. Do you like chocolates?
Yes, of course. As I'm a sweet, as I have a sweet tooth, I'm very fond of having chocolates, and I usually take it once in a day.
Okay, very good. What is your favorite chocolate flavor? Or wait, what's your favorite flavor? Chocolate as a flavor, right?
Yeah, I really like dark chocolates because it is not very. I'm kind of nervous. I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. I like dark chocolates because it's not too sweet for my liking, or it's just nice for my liking, or something like that. Okay. So, how often do you eat chocolate?
Uh, I have to say that I have chocolates in a regular basis. Uh, Usually, whenever I go to shopping, I have one or two blocks of chocolates in my list.
Okay. So, do you think chocolate is good for our health?
Everything has a certain amount that is useful for our health, and it is similar for the chocolates as well. If we take in proper amount, it is good. It gives us some many benefits, but if overused, it may harm our health.
Okay. Good. Um, do you like dessert?
Speaking about desserts, um, I only like certain desserts such as ice creams.
Okay. So that brings us to the end of section 1. So we've spoken for about 2 minutes, Devika, and you were pretty okay. The only feedback is not the only feedback. So one of the feedback is don't stop in between. Try to elaborate as much as possible. So for example, you were talking about chocolate. What was the first question asked? Wait, let me pull it up. So the first question asked was, do you like chocolate? So you said, since I have a sweet tooth. So you started off with the discourse marker. So you're constructing a complex sentence that's good. And you said, since I have a sweet tooth, I'm quite fond of chocolates. So I asked you, what's your favorite chocolate? Well, I made a mistake there. So chocolate is chocolate flavored. So I asked you, what's your favorite flavor? Or maybe they're expecting to talk about white chocolate, milk chocolate, and dark chocolate. So you said, I like dark chocolates, and I like to eat dark chocolates. Or you can use words like when I crave chocolates, or when I feel like eating chocolates, I take a bite of dark chocolates, or I take a little bit of, or I eat, or I gorge on dark chocolates, and something like that. How often do you eat chocolate? You said, when I go shopping, I see that the chocolate is on my list, or a block or two of chocolate is on my list, which was good. Then I asked you, do you think chocolate is good for our health? And you said, like, everything has a limit. So you can say, if taken in moderation. So you can use terms like when taken in moderation, or when taken in the right quantity. I think chocolate is pretty good for our health. Or you can say words like, as research is conducted on chocolates, I think chocolate's good for our heart, and so on and so forth. Okay. So I think your part 1 was pretty good. You just have to not stop in between, okay? And use a little more of...
problem is
your,
fluency.
yeah, it's only fluency, and you're gathering in your thoughts. So don't stop in
How
between.
can I work on it? Like,
Keep speaking. So you look at, there are so many websites which gives you topics for part 1. So go speaking part 1 topics, and try and compose answers for each topic. So that will help you a lot. So while you're speaking, record yourself and listen and see how better you could have done it. So that's one way to do it. Look at all the topics that they ask you for part 1 and try and produce an answer for that.
okay, sure.
Okay, so we go into part 2. Are you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so Devika, we're now venturing into part 2 of your speaking. So I will be displaying a cue card, and you'll have to look at it. I'll give you a minute to prepare, after which you'll be answering those questions, or you'll be speaking about it for 2 minutes. Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay, so sorry. This is your cue card. And your minute starts now. Okay, that's the end of your minute. I'll stop sharing my screen. So in the test, you'll have to return your cue card to the examiner. Okay, I'll ask you to give it back. And I'll time you for 2 minutes. Okay, start speaking.
Today I'm going to talk about a place I usually visit when I have leisure time. It is known as Christ Cafe, which is located near to my home. I usually go there in the evening. In the evenings when I come back home from work, I usually sit there to relax and hang out with my friends and order some cafe latte to drink. I really like this cafe because it is one of the best places to visit, which is near my home, and the ambience is very nice and pleasant. The customer service they provide is also very overwhelming. They are very they are very
Well done on that, Devika. Actually, you were pretty good. Okay, it's just that you stopped a little bit early.
yeah.
So you could have spoken a little bit for where it is. The first question,
No.
where it is, you could say, I have been asked to speak about my favorite place where I can go, or today I'm going, or it's so interesting, or I'm so happy, or I'm excited to speak about my favorite place where I go to hang out. Use the word hang out, which is pretty good. You could say, um, very close to my house, in the narrow streets, or very close to my house, or just adjacent to my house, is this cozy little place, or this cozy little cafe, or cozy little coffee shop called Price Cafe. And I love spending time there, or I go there every day after my work, or I usually visit the cafe after my work, which you did it very well, okay, extremely well. So if I'm doing this, it's just nitpicking, but the only thing is be fluent, no big pauses in between, okay? So I know you're gathering your thoughts, but see that you do it fluently. Then when do you usually go there? You did that. Why do you like to visit this cafe? I think by here you knew that my time, I still need to speak, and you were talking about it. You said it's a pretty good place, the stuff is good, the ambience is good, and all that. So overall, you did a very good job for a first time test taker. You did a pretty good job, I think. You just need to elaborate it a little more. And oh, all these topics, right? They have a vocabulary that comes with it. So if you look at cafe, what do you think of? Cozy little shop, warm ambience. You said ambience, you say warm. I like to hang out with my friends, or we get together. Amazing food, delicious coffee. I enjoy the coffee there. Then how often, so I spend my evenings there, either reading or writing or sitting out with my laptop. You don't have to be honest. If you don't have a place, just make it up. Then when do you usually go there? You say every once in a while, or every so often, or every so often I visit this place. Why do you like it? It's known for its warmth. The staff is this, that. You did a pretty good job. You were really good. So you only need to look at the vocabulary. You also spoke in all the three tenses. You did use your discourse markers, but you were quite limited with that. So you have to, yeah. Overall was pretty good. So we'll start about part 3.
Okay.
Okay. Oh my gosh, where is it? Um, Give me a minute, please. I have lost it. Okay. Devika,
Yes, ma'am.
okay. Tell me about the types of food that people eat in your country.
As Nepal is rich in cultural diversity, there are numerous types of food found here. The most typical food that we as Nepali eat is rice, lentil, and curry. Also, pickle is must. There, the food differs within each caste. Like Newari people enjoy eating different varieties of meat.
Okay. So, what do you think old people like to eat?
The older generation usually prefer eating what they are usually eating since their childhood. They do not like to take chances to try new food, so they eat lentil rice and curry
Okay.
at the first place.
Okay. So that brings us to the end of our test. You were a bit stuck here. So I think you should speak a bit more elaborate. So you spoke well, but I think it's the vocabulary part. So you could say words like cuisine
Okay.
and different regions of Nepal instead of castes. You could say different regions of Nepal consume different kinds of food, but you could say use words like staple diet. So our staple diet is rice, lentils, and vegetable. So it's called dal tarkari if you want to say, and then you say
You can say it dal tarkari as well.
yeah, you can use terms, it doesn't matter, just be as natural as possible. So you could say so the main staple diet is rice, lentil, and vegetables. It's called dal tarkari, and there are also quite famous food that you might have heard of, like momos, and so they're quite popular, as you might have heard of it, or people outside Nepal, or Nepal is known for its momos and things. But even so, our staple diet is so and so. The older generation, you say, well, the older generation does not like to take chances for their food, so they stick to tried and tested rice and lentils or something like that. Okay,
Yeah.
so your vocabulary was a bit of an issue here, and your discourse markers, but you were able to put your thoughts. It was not as if I don't understand, it was quite coherent, but it's just your fluency and your lexicals where you have to improve a little bit. Okay, your grammar is pretty good.
Okay.
Okay, so the next person is Jigar is done, Devika is done. Raman, are you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we'll pretend this is our test, so I'll start timing you. Okay, you saw how it was done. Uh, hello, Raman. My name is Ruth. I'm going to be your examiner for today. How are you doing?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and Raman, can I see your identification, please?
Sure, here it is.
Okay, and what's your full name?
My name is Ramanpreet Kaur.
Okay. Okay, and you, all right. So we're entering into part one of speaking. So I'm going to ask you a few short questions, and you'll have to answer it the best way that you can. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So okay, Raman, describe and sorry, give me a minute, sweetheart. I'm sorry about this. Okay. Okay, maybe you'll enjoy this. Okay, your time starts now. Ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Who is your favorite celebrity in your country?
Well, although there are a number of celebrities in my country, however, if I talk about my favorite, so it's he is Gurdas Man, and he is very popular among youngsters.
Well done. How do celebrities influence their fans in your country?
Well, in my country, celebrities always make a number of movies which always motivate to the youngsters. like they always make movies on drug addictions. Most of the youngsters always take drugs, so they always make movies on that parts.
Okay, so all right. So would you do you like any foreign celebrities?
To be honest, no, I don't know about any foreign celebrities. I have not enough time to listen, so that is the reason I always know about the Indian celebrities.
Okay, that's the end of your part one. Raman, I'll just give you your feedback before we proceed. Okay, first thing, I
Okay.
would love to appreciate you on your use of discourse markers. Okay, you started each sentence with well, you used although and however, so it's pretty good. Okay, and second
Mhm.
thing is one thing to avoid is don't use the word always. Okay, you said youngsters always take drugs, they always make these movies, so don't use the word always at all. Okay, because
Okay.
that's the examiner could be biased, so it might reduce your points, so don't use always. And when you use well and you said however and you used although, I know that they are pretty good discourse markers and they're necessary, but see where and how. Okay, whether you can use it, and try and experiment with others as well. Okay, but your
Okay.
sentence structure was good. And another thing is open up your mouth a little more wider so that your words can be heard nice and clear. Okay, you spoke very well. So now we'll be entering into part two of our speaking, and I want you to take a look at your cue card. I'll give you a minute to prepare, after which you'll have to speak about it for 2 minutes. Are you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right. So, Ramanpreet, this is your topic, and your minute starts now.
Okay.
Okay, your time's up. I'm stopping screen share.
Okay.
Okay, and you can start speaking.
Okay. Well, park is one of the best place to feel relaxed. Here, I want to share one of the park which I always go there, and the name of the park is Nehru Park, and it is extremely near to my house. Like whenever I feel stress as well as worries regarding to my work as well as regarding to my study purpose, that time I always visit at that place, and it's a really good place for me. However, most of the time I go at that place with my friends and share a lot of things. And there are a number of swings as well as a lot of flowers. And children, most of the children visit at that place for and enjoyed a lot. And if I talk about the older people, then they also share their experience with each other, and I love to listen. I love to listen them, because um, they have a lot of experience, and I love to listen their experience about the different things. uh, Apart from this, it is the best place for enjoying and for relaxation, like in the evening time. I visit at that place with my friends, and most of the time I also my me and my friends also conduct meeting at that place. So according to me, it is the best place for sharing things, like sharing thoughts, and that's it.
Okay, good. So you spoke, but you were using a lot of and. Okay, so avoid usage of and. You spoke park, park, park. You spoke about relaxation, so you can speak about nature, and I enjoy there. You could use terms like peaceful, lot of nature, lot of trees, fresh air. I can see different birds. I like to go sunrise and sunset. All those things can be used. So speak slowly, you don't need to rush, and then you were quite okay. So you need to practice a little bit about with your discourse markers and with your
Okay.
sentence structure, okay? But I
Yes,
understand
ma'am.
this is your first time as well, so don't worry much about it. Take this as your practice. Okay, we'll conduct this maybe every Friday or so, so that it's easy to understand. So we enter into part 3.
Hello.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? No? Raman, can you hear me? I thought I'm not audible. Okay, so we'll start off with part 3. Okay.
Okay. Okay, ma'am.
Uh, give me a minute. Okay. So we'll start off with part 3. Okay. Raman, are there many parks in your home country?
I belong to a small village, and there is not a number of parks. There is two or three parks mainly, and I enjoy to walk at that place because it's a peaceful place, and most of the people in my country always visit there.
Okay. Uh, Raman, what do you think about the city life and the country life? Do you enjoy the city life or you enjoy the country life?
I think there is not a huge difference between both. But if I talk about the countryside area, then people always share their things with them, as well as there are a lot of celebrations which they and there are a lot of celebrations which they celebrate together. However, if I talk about city life, then people have busy schedule. They do not have enough time to talk with each other, and most of the time they are busy, and mostly in any special occasion they celebrate. So that is the difference between both.
Good. So let's talk a bit about overworking in the cities. Do you think people are being overworked in the cities? And what do you think is the effects of being overworked?
um Actually, in modern era, everyone have a lot of works, and if I talk about the city life, then people have people have more busy schedule, and they always do a work to make their life easy and comfortable, and that is the reason they do a lot of work, but it affects on their body, as not only physically but also mentally, like they always feel stress, and they do not spend time with their kids, and their kids do not learn anything from their parents because they, for example, they go at 8 o'clock for work and come back at late night, so they do not have enough time to spend with their children. So they
Okay.
become busy.
Okay. So Raman, I think you spoke for an entire time. So avoid the usage of so. Even I use a lot of so while speaking. So don't use so a lot. Then the other thing is, you said when you're giving an example, you said, for instance, so you can just say, for example, people work long hours, or people have hectic schedules or hectic work time. So you need to improve up on your vocabulary. So look at different topics and see what vocabulary you can use for those kind of topics and use it. I think you're practicing speaking a lot. I can see that the way you speak and the way you start, that you're doing it by yourself. You're doing a lot of practice. Or you're practicing a lot of speaking. I can realize that. Are you? Am I right?
Yes, ma'am.
So
Yes, ma'am.
yeah, I can understand that in the way you speak, that you're giving it a lot of effort. You're doing your best. You just need to work on your vocabulary. And if you need any help for your speaking or for any other module, you just let me know, and I'll do my best to help you out with that. We'll
Okay,
conduct
thank you, ma'am.
this. Yeah, we'll conduct this every week, and we'll. I think that'll be a help for all of us. So, guys, that's all for today. I hope you learned something. So, Raman, if I had to tell you your feedback, you only need to work on your vocabulary, the topic-based vocabulary. So, use a lot more words. You're looking at 7 for speaking, right, or 6?
6, ma'am.
6 for speaking. So, I think it's easily.
But I got 6.5.
Yeah, it's easily attainable. So you're looking at 6 for speaking even now.
Yes, ma'am.
So last time it was only writing which was a problem, is it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you'll be fine this time. So just use your writing. So your speaking is okay enough for 6, even I would say. Just focus on your vocabulary and in your sentence structure. I can see very well that you're working on it. So
Okay.
that's all, ladies. That's all for today. I hope you learned something. Jigar, it was very pleasant talking to you and conducting speaking with you. Have a pleasant evening, and
Yeah,
see you again for another lesson on Monday.
it will be great.
Yeah.